killed people?
Somebody try to kill me, I'm gonna kill them. Somebody hurt my family, I'm gonna kill them.
I'm asking you, have you killed someone?
Yeah, I never killed nobody in my life.
He ain't had no chance in life.
They asked him like, "Do you kill people?" He's like, "Nah, I didn't kill nobody, but I hurt people that hurt me." I said, "Well, that's damn. You can't say that." Not to the process.
Yeah. It's deep with him. Like he got 2 more murder cases to go.
Oh, shit.
Those words, spoken about a young Fort Worth rapper, would soon take on a chilling new meaning. Crazy Boy sure did hurt people who hurt him, even when one of those people was his father. Because on January 25th, 2022, 47-year-old Kevin Brown Sr. stepped outside his home to check his mailbox and never came back inside alive. The man who ordered his execution was his own son, Crazy Boy. And the reason behind it was a family betrayal so twisted, it sounds like something out of a Tubi movie. But before we get to that fatal afternoon, let me take you back to where this all began, in the streets of Fort Worth, Texas, where loyalty means everything and betrayal can cost you your life. Braylon Lamont Brown was born around 2001 in Fort Worth, a city where gang culture runs deep and the line between rap music and real street life barely exists. Known in the underground scene as Crazy Boy Bray, he grew up in an environment that was marked by family instability and early exposure to crime. His father, Kevin Brown Sr., who everyone called Big Kevin, lacked steady employment, and according to court records, young Braylon spent his childhood assisting his father with illegal activities, like altering VIN numbers on stolen vehicles to make them appear legitimate. By 15, Braylon's path had already veered sharply into the juvenile justice system. He was committed to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department for burglary of a vehicle, followed by an additional commitment for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. But that time locked up proved pivotal for 2 reasons. First, it was where Braylon met Demond Cotton, a fellow inmate who would later become the triggerman in his father's murder. And second, it was where he discovered his passion for music. While in juvenile detention, Braylon released his first rap song, which reportedly garnered around 100,000 views and attracted a music manager. He started going by Crazy Boy Bray, and his music quickly reflected the world he came from. Tracks like No Flexin' and You Feel Me showcased raw street lyrics over gritty production. A remix of You Feel Me with MO3 in November 2020 amassed about 9 million views, positioning him as a rising artist in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
In the city, y'all niggas, you feel me, like, niggas won't blemish me and shit for no reason, but like, you niggas broke. Everybody I know around is broke. You know what I'm saying? Santana just got out, I took her to the jeweler, I spent 45K. Get off my.
But while his music career was gaining traction, Braylon was also deeply embedded in gang culture. By April 2019, Fort Worth police had him documented as a member of the Rolling 60s Crips, one of 38 Crip sets in the city. His social media was filled with gang-specific tattoos, photographs, and posts where he repeatedly used On 60 to affirm his loyalty. Now, for those who do not know, the Rolling 60s Crips originated in Los Angeles in 1976 as a faction splintering from the original West Side Crips. By the 80s, they had become one of the largest Crip sets in LA, with an estimated 1,600 members nationwide involved in racketeering, murder, extortion, and drug trafficking. The gang migrated to Texas through individual relocations and recruitment, and in Fort Worth, they became a dominant force. Braylon was not just a member. According to some accounts, he co-founded a violent subgroup called Brothers Over Everything in the Lake Worth area, which authorities linked to multiple homicides and street conflicts. His Instagram posts told the story. Messages like the rats on 60 and on my mama if I would have told him to do you 100% they would have. We ran the county on 60 revealed his combative stance and anti-snitching mentality. Fort Worth police officer Christopher McAnulty from the gang unit testified to Braylon's reputation as a prolific offender involved in threats against perceived snitches and witnesses. And the beefs were not just rap disses, they turned deadly. One of his most notorious feuds was with a rival rapper named Channel 5 J-Dub. The dispute escalated into a deadly pursuit in early 2020. Court records detail how Braylon and his associates allegedly hunted J-Dub, but the consequences were catastrophic. On January 9, 2020, 33-year-old mother Anjoan Eubanks was killed in crossfire during the hunt. Just 3 days later, on January 12th, 17-year-old Cheyenne Moore was fatally shot in similar circumstances. 2 innocent people dead because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. After J-Dub himself was eventually found dead, Braylon released a diss track called Badass J-Dub Diss, mocking the incident. The music video featured firearms and gang signs, further entrenching his image as someone who didn't just rap about violence, but lived it. That brings us to another beef, this one hitting closer to home. Go Yayo, a fellow Fort Worth rapper, publicly accused Braylon of snitching. The twist in this whole beef is that they're blood cousins. In an interview, Braylon confirmed the family connection but made it clear it meant nothing to him, saying the beef was deeper than that and rooted in real street issues. The snitching allegations haunted Braylon throughout his time in the streets, but he maintained his innocence fiercely. When interrogation footage was released showing him refusing to cooperate with investigators, many in the community saw it as proof he kept his mouth shut.
Talk to me, bud. We can discuss what's going on.
I don't want to talk.
You don't want to talk?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That clip you just watched was Braylon in the interrogation room, refusing to cooperate with investigators. He stood solid when given the opportunity to talk. Not all of Braylon's beefs ended in bloodshed, though. His conflict with Murda Gang PB, another prominent Fort Worth rapper, was actually squashed for a collaboration. They linked up on a track called Southwest Choppers featuring YTN Lil Greg. Braylon described it as a strategic boss move to transcend rivalries for career advancement. But that was the exception, not the rule. By May 2021, Braylon was implicated in the drive-by murder of Rashad Duty Johnson. His rap lyrics often referenced these violent incidents, with prosecutors later using lines from songs like Criticizing as evidence of his mindset. So by the time Braylon landed in Tarrant County Jail in January 2021, he already had a reputation that preceded him. Multiple bodies were allegedly connected to his name, and the streets knew who he was. The police had been monitoring him as a prolific offender for years. Now, to understand what drove Braylon to order a hit on his own father, you need to understand the family dynamics at play here, because at the center of all this was one person, his older brother, Kevin Brown Jr., who everyone called Little Kevin. Braylon idolized his brother, and the two shared a bond that court documents described as very loyal. Little Kevin had a baby with a woman named Rebecca Willis, who everyone called Shay. That made Shay the mother of Big Kevin's grandson and Braylon's nephew. Everything was relatively stable until January 19, 2016, when tragedy struck. Little Kevin was killed during a botched robbery attempt, leaving a void that profoundly affected the entire family, especially Braylon. But here's where things take a disturbing turn. After Little Kevin's death, Shay Willis, his grieving baby mama, began a secret romantic relationship with Big Kevin Sr. That's right, the woman who had a child with his deceased son started sleeping with Big Kevin himself. And this wasn't just a fling, because according to court records, the affair commenced in October 2017, resulting in Willis becoming pregnant and giving birth to another child fathered by Big Kevin. This created a multi-generational entanglement that is almost impossible to wrap your head around. The younger child was not only Big Kevin's daughter, but also a half-sibling to Braylon. At the same time, she was both an aunt and a half-sibling to Shay's older child with Little Kevin. The living arrangements made everything even more complicated. By the time of the murder, Willis resided with Big Kevin, her 2 children, and one of Big Kevin's daughters, LaWanda Tink Brown, in a home on Beacon Way in southern Fort Worth. Family members had their suspicions about the relationship, but the affair remained a secret. As Shay Willis herself testified in court, everybody had their suspicions, but the parentage of the younger child was not truly confirmed until after Big Kevin died. And here's where the streets and family collided. Braylon, who was already incarcerated in Tarrant County Jail since January 2021 on unrelated charges, reportedly discovered the affair through family communications. According to accomplice testimonies, when he found out what his father had done with his dead brother's baby mama, he was furious. His girlfriend at the time, Alexis Abeda, recounted him describing Big Kevin as grimy, which is street slang for treacherous or disloyal. She emphasized that both Big Kevin and Little Kevin had a baby with Shay, underscoring how much Braylon felt betrayed. To him, this wasn't just about the affair, this was about disrespecting his brother's memory. And in the world Braylon came from, that kind of disrespect demanded a response. Now, remember, Braylon was sitting in Tarrant County Jail when he learned all of this. He was behind bars, unable to do anything about it himself, but that didn't stop him from plotting his revenge. According to court records, planning commenced in mid-December 2021. Using a jail-issued tablet for messaging and phone calls, Braylon began coordinating the hit on his own father. And to avoid detection, he employed street slang to obscure his intent. Controllers referred to guns, pieces meant bullets, play meant the criminal act, and phrases like African monster or front door version indicated targeting the victim at the mailbox. The man he tapped to pull the trigger was Demond Cotton, the same person he had met years earlier in juvenile detention. Cotton was a fellow Rolling 60s Crips associate, and Braylon knew he could count on him. By January 18, 2022, Braylon had confirmed the play with Cotton via relayed messages through intermediaries. The logistics were meticulous. On January 24th, Braylon messaged an associate named Jamar Gibson about needing controllers and sent Cash App information for payment. Then he turned to his girlfriend, Alexis Abeda, with a specific task.
Y'all know he on bond for murder, hoop. I ain't gonna speak on some other situations, but shit, I guess the situation, I wasn't there, so shit, I really can't speak on what I ain't see.
On January 23rd, Abeda was directed to buy bullets at Academy Sports, delivering them to Cotton after reimbursement. Surveillance and purchase records later confirmed this transaction. Cotton's girlfriend, Ashlyn Durham, was brought in as the driver. She received $25 for gas via Cash App on January 24th. According to her later confession, Cotton was promised somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 for carrying out the murder. On the morning of January 25th, Braylon reinforced the plan via messages, telling an intermediary to tell old boy we gotta do it today and stick to the plan. Everything was in place. Now here is the part that shows just how cold-blooded this whole operation was. To get his father outside at exactly the right moment, Braylon orchestrated a staged three-way phone call. At approximately 4:53 in the afternoon on January 25th, Abeda connected Braylon, herself, and Big Kevin on a call. Records from the Tarrant County inmate outgoing line showed the call lasting until 5:05 in the evening. During the conversation, Braylon told his father that chains or grills, meaning jewelry, and money for lawyers or bonds were waiting for him. He urged his father to go check the mailbox for a supposed package. Big Kevin, a 47-year-old father of 6 with no gang affiliations, had no reason to suspect anything. He stepped outside, phone still in hand, and walked to the brick-encased mailbox at the front of his property in the 2100 block of Beacon Way. Meanwhile, Durham's black Chrysler 200, with distinctive damage, including a bent right quarter panel and flat tire, had been parked nearby for 11 to 12 minutes. Cotton sat in the rear passenger seat, armed with an AR-style rifle, possibly equipped with a homemade casing catcher to minimize evidence left at the scene. The moment Big Kevin reached the mailbox, Cotton leaned out of the tinted window and opened fire. The rapid gunfire struck Kevin Sr. in the head, causing fatal wounds. Brick fragments from the mailbox scattered across the yard, and Big Kevin collapsed in a pool of blood. He died right there, on his own property, steps away from his front door. Shay Willis was home when it happened. Body camera footage later captured her tending to Big Kevin as he lay dying. But here's the thing. When police arrived, she misled them by claiming Big Kevin was her father, a lie designed to conceal the affair that had ultimately gotten him killed. She was heard yelling into her phone, "I don't know why he came outside." Big Kevin's grandmother, Deborah Ingram, was also at the scene, and remarkably, she immediately suspected her own grandson. She told police that the drive-by shooting was probably behind my grandson, Braylon, linking it to the underlying family tensions. The investigation moved quickly. Although the shooter's face was obscured in surveillance footage, the distinctive damage on Durham's Chrysler made it easy to track back. City cameras and license plate readers traced the vehicle back to Durham's residence at Maxwell Apartments. When police caught up with her, Durham confessed, providing details about the payment promise and her own involvement. A search of Cotton's apartment yielded the rifle with .223 rounds, letters to Braylon indicating their friendship, and Cotton's identification. Ballistics could not definitively match the weapon, but fragments from the scene matched the .223 family of ammunition. Now, you might be wondering how exactly prosecutors tied all of this back to Braylon, considering he was sitting in a jail cell when his father was murdered. The answer lies in the digital trail he left behind. Detective Michael Soanes compiled a 128-exhibit timeline from over 75,000 tablet messages, social media posts from Instagram and Facebook, phone logs, Cash App transfers, and surveillance videos. The coded language Braylon used was deciphered, and the pieces fell into place. The friendly connection between Cotton and Braylon, family testimonies about the affair, and corroboration from non-accomplice witnesses all painted a damning picture. What is more, prosecutors used Braylon's own music against him. His rap lyrics, including lines like "R.I.P. KB, my father, for doing what he did," were admitted as character evidence after Braylon denied having any knowledge of a motive during his testimony. In essence, he opened the door for those lyrics to be used against him. His 8-day trial took place in November 2023 in Tarrant County's 396th District Court, presided over by Judge George Gallagher. Prosecutors Katie Owens and Matt Rivers charged him under Texas's law of parties, which holds someone liable for soliciting and directing a murder, even if they didn't physically pull the trigger. Accomplices Abeda and Durham both testified against Braylon, their pending charges likely motivating their cooperation. But their testimonies were corroborated by substantial non-accomplice evidence, including the vehicle identification, the tablet messages, and the testimony from family members about the affair. When it came time for Braylon to take the stand during the punishment phase, he denied any involvement. He claimed he only learned of the affair after his father's death. He also told the court he had undergone a Christian conversion while incarcerated, but the jury wasn't buying it. Prior to trial, Braylon had been offered a 50-year plea deal, which he rejected, and that decision would prove costly. The jury found Braylon guilty and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole as a repeat offender. They took into account not only this murder, but his ties to other homicides, including the 2021 drive-by killing of Rashad Johnson.
The little boy he called me while he was in jail one time, and I wish they played one of his trials. I said, listen, take the plea deal and thank God that you might see another day. Man, but Brian, that shit. You know anything that you done, how you done it. Take the plea deal. I don't know what you done, but take the plea deal.
As for the others involved, Demond Cotton was tried separately on March 2024. He was found guilty and sentenced to 65 years in prison, with parole eligibility after 32.5 years. Abeda and Durham still have murder charges pending against them, their cooperation during trial likely being factored into whatever deals they ultimately receive. Braylon appealed his conviction in 2023, raising 5 points of contention. He challenged the admission of his rap lyrics, body camera footage, social media records, and argued there was insufficient evidence considering he was incarcerated at the time of the murder. On July 3, 2025, the Texas Second Court of Appeals affirmed his conviction, overruling all of his points. The court found that any evidentiary errors were harmless given the overwhelming proof against him. So where does this leave the Brown family? Elwanda Thornton lost her son at the hands of her own grandson. Shay Willis's children now navigate a fractured family tree where their grandfather ordered the murder of their other grandfather, and their father figure was their uncle. And the younger child, the one born from the affair that sparked all of this, will grow up knowing that her existence, in some twisted way, led to her father's death.
He's young.
With demons. And in a hot ass cell. With he not even going to the low grade prisons.
Now they put you with
the big boys.
Yeah, they put you with the.
He might go in there with a 6'5" ass.
Yeah, super predator.
Yeah. Look at this little light-skinned nigga come in this motherfucker.
As of today, Braylon Lamont Brown remains incarcerated, his music career reduced to a footnote in his criminal legacy. All because he couldn't forgive his father for betraying his brother's memory.
I lost a lot of feelings, please don't talk to me. Remember days in school when bitches and niggas won't walk with me. I noticed that I'm going up, I can tell they tryna stalk on me. I got me in my feelings like, mama, what am I supposed to do? I know that I'm your baby, I'm wishing I could be close to you. Reminiscing about all the time we was out slanging us. It's free to tweet, cause you know I'm gon' die.
Do you think Kevin deserved to die, or was it too much of a punishment? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.